People say I ain't no good, and I'm crazy as a loon. Cause I shave my head in the morning, pick guitar in the afternoon. Just like old Chief and Charlie, I like to lay around in the shade. Well, I ain't got no money, but you better believe I got it made. Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. If you don't like the way I'm living, just leave this bald-headed country boy alone.
What's up, folks? Thank y'all for tuning to the Josh Terry podcast. It's been a slack-ass week for me for some reason. I have not wanted to do anything. Labor Day weekend wore me out. I don't know. It's been a slack-ass. And then I got a cancellation yesterday, and I started going through, and I saw where I had just been a dickhead and not messaged my dudes back from Dude Dads. And I was like, why the hell did I not message them back? And I realized that my phone for most of the summer, as y'all already know, is on Do Not Disturb. And I was like, I got to get these guys on the show next week. And they were like, we're free Friday. So I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So on the show today with me is the Dude Dads podcast. What's up, fellas?
How you doing, brother? Thanks for having us.
Anytime, dude. Every time y'all are on the show, I have a great conversation with you guys. So I figured we'd just snowball this shit and just have a good time this morning.
Let's just jump right the fuck in it. You know what I mean?
You know, you mentioned your phone on Do Not Disturb. Number one, I don't know how you operate like that.
Yeah, my management company doesn't either. They're fucking so mad at me the way I handled this summer. They hate me.
Which is all fine and good, right? Everybody has their reasons. But back in, I think it was June, I had reached out to you because us and our wives were going to come to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what's the dates for the July stuff? We got time, want to come out, and never heard from you. And I was like, maybe he's just not that into us, you know?
Oh no, I like
maybe
the shit of you guys.
Maybe it's us, not him.
We said a lot of bad things about you.
You should have.
We didn't.
You should have. I'll tell y'all like I tell everybody else. I'm really, really bad about when it comes to self-preservation, just shutting the world out. Like when it's time for me to like work on me, and I haven't really done it the way that I did it this summer before, but it's like I shut off all distractions, and it's even my job was a distraction this summer to where it was like, okay, I've got to change some shit in my personal life. And if I don't, I'm going to regret it later on. I just got to chill out. Like, and I put my phone on Do Not Disturb 90% of the time this summer. Spent time with my daughter, spent time doing stuff that I needed to be doing. And I missed so much shit that I was supposed to be doing that, I don't even know how I still have a show, to be real with you.
Do you find that when that phone goes off, it gives you anxiety?
I feel like it gives me anxiety, but also too, I think that we get so distracted by what other people want from us, we forget what we need for ourselves. And
that's very true. Yeah.
And I get real wrapped up in, I'm not a people pleaser by any means. Like I do what makes me happy, but I get caught up in because this is my career. Like I have no other job outside of this. I get real caught up in, hey, I got to make a video this week, or I got to record 3 shows this week, or I got to do this and this and this and this and this bullshit that I forget. Like I got to take care of me. Like if I'm not doing well, I can't do good at this job. And sometimes
you gotta be like a first responder.
Yeah, dude. Like sometimes you just got to shut everything off, and you got to figure. When I'm good mentally, I'm 100 times better at this job. When I'm not, oh, dude, I suck. You can tell like episodes where I phone shit in. I'm rushing through it. You can tell I'm rushing through it. I'm ready to get done with it. It's not doing a courtesy to my sponsors. It's not doing a courtesy to my guests. It's like, okay, I'm ready to be done. Like, so I can just go back to doing whatever bullshit I was doing before.
I did a similar thing probably 2 months ago. I told my wife, I was like, I do between 60 and 70 phone calls a day. That's about my average. And that'll extend. I can extend into the nighttime. And I have I have two people in my life, a couple guys that I will start talking to between 5 and 6 a.m. that
Yeah.
are like, I don't mind that. Those are my go-to guys. Like, this is the one time we get to talk before we're done for the day, or it needs to happen then. Like, it's just a thing like, hey, you available now? Let's just knock it out. That way, before I go to work, I never talk to you again. But I started shutting my phone off at 5 o'clock. Like, when I get home, I'm done because I felt bad being in front of kids, and there was always a good excuse on why I could be on the phone. I always
Yeah.
found I have a good excuse to be on. I'm like, gives a shit. I'm like, then I'm looking at my son. I'm like, well, what does he see? I'm just on my phone. This phone's more important to him. I was like, man, Candace. To my wife, I was like, I'm done. I walk in the house. This phone's done.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
like,
find that like the world's not going to end when that happens,
Mhm.
right? Nothing happens. Nobody dies. The world doesn't blow up. It's hard to do when you're self-employed. All of us are self-employed, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we do kind of have that's our lifeline for a lot of things. We need money to keep the lights on, to keep everybody happy, and that's kind of the lifeline in a lot of ways. But if I ignore your call or your text or your email, and they'll just that's going to be tomorrow's issue, tomorrow's problem. It's okay.
yeah.
It's nothing bad happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to sound very, shitty business tactics, what I'm about to say. But anybody that's a business owner that just stays stressed about their phone, I challenge you for a weekend to put your phone somewhere where you can't get it and just ignore the shit out of it and realize that your business is still going to be there on Monday. There might be some fires you got to put out, but they're still going to be there on Monday. Like, it's if you're conducting business correctly, there's not going to be life or death situations or whatever. Like, there's just some things that like we over prioritize and we don't realize it until it's too late that we've just overlooked what really matters. Like we're sitting there looking at, oh, okay, I'm trying to schedule this, and if I don't schedule this for next week, I'm going to drive myself crazy. How many times have all of us done that? But then the day came, it's like, okay, it worked out. Like, it's like,
That's why I've been letting. Yeah, that's why I let it happen to Universe. So I'm like, let me
yeah,
give it 20 minutes. I bet it works itself out.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, our technology and everything we have today is such a blessing and a curse. I'm always a firm believer in like the social media is a great thing. Access to
yeah,
information is a great thing. You can make it all great, but what comes with that is like what we're talking about now. And I like what you said, just like if you're a business owner and or self-employed, leave your phone away on the weekend. I might try that this weekend.
That's good.
We got the
'Cause
football game tomorrow. We're talking about going down the beach and camping overnight. I like 24 hours.
who needs
yeah,
to be contacting you? If your
yeah.
kids and
Yeah.
wife are near you, who do you need to talk to?
Well, how many times have you told your kids that that phone isn't the most important thing in life, and then you pick it up every 30 seconds just to see what the fuck's going on?
Dude. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm bad about it. I promise you. I'm not. I am horrible about it. I will be sitting there at dinner with my daughter and tell her to put her phone down, and then next thing you know, her phone's down, but we're not having a conversation. We're just sitting there bullshitting, and I'll pick my phone up out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, Dad, good job. You're setting a great example here. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even get rid of yours for a couple minutes.
It's crazy. It just shows you like how much of a fucking drug
Well,
It
we
is.
got
that is.
we got the new problem now of that we have to create content. So we've been told that we need to be better about creating content. So now my phone has to be on me. Now I'm like, so I've been learning how to film quickly in the moments and then kind of patch it up later.
Yeah.
But I don't like it feels cheesy sometimes of having that phone and like who
Yeah.
who am I a slave to? This phone, the content's like, man, I don't give a fuck.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to do. You
Well,
do a
even-
good job at it though.
Well,
I
even
really
with
like the video of your daughter Gracie shaving your back the other day.
yeah,
That was
everybody.
awesome.
So I like to kind of irritate the shit out of people who don't have kids. You can always tell who has fucking kids and who don't on the internet. And I'm not a gentle parent anyway. Like, I tell this story to my friends all the time. I don't know if I ever told it on here, but y'all are old enough to. I'm 37. I can't remember how old y'all are. I'll be 37 next week. How old are y'all again?
That's about time. I'm getting ready to turn 44 next month.
Yeah, I'll be 39 in December.
Okay. So do y'all remember when we used to have like the big ass satellite dishes in the yard that you
Oh,
used
hell
to
yeah.
have Like you had to actually move, not
Yeah.
physically, but you'd have to put
Turn that
in,
knob on the box and it would
yeah,
fucking
all that shit. So I still remember my mom and dad losing remotes and my ass having to go stand up next to the TV and be the fucking remote for them until they found what they wanted to watch, right?
Yep.
Like, so I tell Gracie all the time, it's like, look, you might have to shave my back. You might have to take my boots off sometime. That don't compare to the shit that I had to do. Like, and some of these people on the internet and everything on Instagram or TikTok, they get so offended and so butthurt that it's like, you made your daughter shave your back. You're disgusting. It's like, bitch, I was a universal remote for years of my life. Shut up. Like, my daughter
You're
had
not
to
asking her to shave your ass or anything.
no,
You know what I mean?
it's my
Not a big
back.
deal.
And it's not like it's even that bad. It's the one thing I'm self-conscious of. Well, I'm self-conscious about my body anyway, but my back hair, I don't like having back hair. So I get her to buzz it when it gets a little furry. And she doesn't give a shit. Like, it's part of, but I think all of us too, we grew up in a time period to where if mom and daddy said to do it, you did it. Like, and it's not like my mom and dad made me do the worst shit ever by any means or anything that was abuse. Like,
No.
You got to shave your dad's back. Fuck it. It's your dad's back. Who cares?
You know what was great that you don't see nobody doing nowadays is my dad going, hey, go get me a beer out of the fridge.
Oh, yeah.
Like, God almighty, you get fucking crucified if you did that nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was like a normal thing. Just go get your dad a beer out of the fridge and come bring it to him. When you're 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day, dude. We had a school shooting either yesterday or the day before down here in Winder, Georgia. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the families and everything involved with that.
Yeah, heard about that.
But so this is kind of fucked up what I'm about to say because I'll probably catch some shit for this. But I have always been like, I love the old school mentality. Like, but with old school mentality, the way that like our grandparents were raised, of course, there were some ass backwards things that shouldn't have happened. A lot of racism, a lot of shit like that should not have been going on and everything. But if we went back to those days, school shootings wasn't happening. There was a lot of other things that wasn't happening. We had more God in school. You had more all of these things to where it wasn't so bad if your dad said, hey, run to the refrigerator and get me a beer. Right. Nobody thought badly of it. Like nobody thought that kid was going to stop between the refrigerator and the dad and take a sip of beer. Right. Nowadays, the reason why people think it's so damn bad if somebody says that is because like, oh, because the kid's going to want to stop and take a drink of beer. Like that's what's bad about it. Back then, you knew that if you stopped and took a drink of beer, your daddy was going to get up and he was going to knock you the fuck out. And you wasn't ever going to want to take a sip of beer again.
Or you tried it and you're like, I don't want to drink beer.
Yeah.
I remember taking a sip of a Budweiser when I was young off the kitchen table. My dad laughed. I was like, that was gross.
Yeah, same thing. I remember my dad saying, yeah, you want a sip? Go ahead, take a sip. And I was young. I was probably, I would say for sure under 9. Yeah. And same thing. I took a sip of Budweiser. And I'm like, this is fucking gross. You know, the surefire way to get a kid to not drink beer is to give him a beer early.
My dad doesn't get credited for being a genius on this show very often. But what he did is my friends, I think when he was about 14 or 15, got in trouble for drinking. I never drank like as a kid. Like I don't think I had my first real drunk experience till I was 18 or 19. I grew up in a house with addicts and everything. Like I veered away from it for a very long time. But my dad, the first time I was like, he knew that they had gotten in trouble for drinking. He was like, I'm going to take you and we're going to have our first beer together. And I was like, okay, well, if my dad's telling me I can do it, that's cool. My dad went and bought Corona and he only bought one of them. He knew that if I took a sip of Corona, a hot Corona, as my first sip of beer, he knew I wouldn't drink again. Like he knew that I would wait until I got to be an adult to want to drink. If anybody's kid is like, hey, you know, I'm ready to start drinking, either give them a shot of cheap ass tequila first or give them the worst beer you can find. And I'll guarantee your kid's going to be like, I'm good. I don't want to do this shit.
Dude, I think that's such a valid point. And the shame of it is, unless you're around the folks like ourselves people want to crucify you for it. But going back to kind of where you started this conversation, those are some of the good things that we need to kind of bring back into parenting, bring back into, raising these kids up. Like, I don't want to see a kid be abused, but I think it's also okay to bust a kid's ass every once in a while if that's what gets the point across. I think we talked about this plenty of times before where to discipline my daughter, I don't have to spank her. I don't have to anything like that, right? I know how to get to her to get the point across. My son, he's a different monster. He responds to spanking. If I spank his ass, right, for something and physically put him in timeout, he will respond to that. My daughter, all I have to do is scold her or make her feel a certain way. It's all about the feelings with her, and I will get the point across to her. I don't have to do anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's a balancing act, I think.
I had to have this conversation recently with somebody that I was previously dating. And I had to tell him, I was like, look, because I've been working a lot on my faith and my weight and all this kind of shit lately, right? And I had to tell him, I was like, look, it's hard to put into words like the past couple of months to anybody, but what God has done for me is he said, look, I've been trying to get your attention for the longest time. And I know he has, and that's been a battle with me going him back and forth. What he had to do was he had to treat me like a toddler. He had to take my favorite toy away from me for me to want to act right, right? Because a physical pain does not bother me whatsoever. So like growing up, spankings and shit never taught me nothing. You have to hurt my feelings to get like my attention. And you have to hurt them in such a way that it's like, hey, we're not doing that shit again because we don't want to hurt again. And it's that way with my daughter to where if I hurt her feelings, I never have to teach her a lesson again. But if I was to spank her, that kid's in 2 seconds doing the same stupid shit. Luckily, I got a good daughter that just doesn't. I don't think with a bunch of us growing up and the way that our parents and our grandparents were raised, I don't think they ever took the chance to do anything besides the spanking. And I'm okay with spankings. I'm all right with you beating the shit out your kid. Like, I am fine. I don't care what anybody says. Spare the rod and spoil the child. If your kid only responds to getting their ass whooped, beat their ass. They'll be grateful for it one day.
You ever find yourself in mixed company giving permission to other people? Hey, I could see, like, you're good. You want to smack him? Go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, we do it all the time. I'm around. I'm a softball dad, dude. So like, and I think y'all probably are too. Or y'all been around like those athletic families before?
Oh yeah.
We get it. It's like if my daughter is with you and she's acting up, put her ass in her place. Like, put her in her place. And
my son plays football, he wrestles and plays lacrosse. So those parents are different than soccer parents, right?
Yeah.
Like they're more hands-on, they're more all about accountability, they're about like you said, discipline, and we all are on the same page. It's like, hey, if little Johnny gets out of hand, straighten his ass out. I tell my son's teachers, now it's somewhat of a joke because they can't do it, but I'm like, look, if little Jared gets out of hand, whoop his ass. Like that, now we can't do that. Which here's another thing. Like back when I was in grade school, the teachers and principals were allowed to spank you. Like my principal walked around lunchtime with a paddle in his pocket. Or if you got sent to the principal's office for something bad, you got your ass paddled. It was a fucking big paddle with holes in it. And they stung your ass up. You know what I mean?
I do remember my dad. I was with Coach Fleetwood. He was a maniac on the field. He was our defensive coordinator. And I remember years later doing some fencing work with him. And he was like, man, I remember your dad. He came right up to me. He's like, this is my son, Tom. He's like, he's a good kid. He said, but if he steps out of line, you treat him like he's your own. I'll never intervene. You're good to take care of it.
And that was back in the day where teachers took the parent side, or you know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, parents took the teacher side. Yeah. Well, now both of our wives are educators, are teachers. So we hear so many stories of, oh man, the parents are getting on me and like they're believing their kid over the teacher or taking their kid side versus, hey, it takes a community to raise these kids. Let's go. The teacher and the parent can kind of like I don't want to say co-parent, but they can
Yeah.
work together to help this,
Yeah.
because all kids are assholes. All kids make mistakes. The whole point of raising a child, raising a student, is they're getting better
Well-
to be a good human being in the adult life.
Well,
You know,
it takes a village, dude.
it does.
I mean, it really does. And the thing is, I keep calling it on. It's just something I call it the sins of our parents and our grandparents. They thought that they knew best when it come to raising a kid. So every one of us have always heard for the longest time that you don't tell me how to raise my kid. Like every one of us has heard that shit, right?
Yep.
Well, bad thing is you might not identify with your child as good as a teacher. That
Yep.
teacher might actually understand your child better than you do just because they have a different perspective of your child. I
Yeah.
think that we should listen to different people's perspectives when it comes to our children. Now, some people are just dumbasses. Now, like there are some people that like are just morons and you can't fix stupid. But there are some people that just want to help you with your kid and they see some things.
Yeah.
And those people should be listened to. But like just a one line train of thought or thinking is never going to help a kid. The more people you have putting their input in, probably the better off your kid's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I think every kid should, to some degree, for a certain portion of their life, play an organized sport, have a coach, have multiple coaches, coaches, teachers. Like in a lot of cases, teachers are spending more time with our kids than we are.
They are.
They're if they're in the same class for 8 hours a day, right? They're seeing your kid during his peak hours of the day.
Yep.
So yeah, and then not only that, how they socialize with their peers. Whereas we as parents, we don't see that as much, right? Because they're with us or their siblings all the time.
Yeah.
They're seeing them in real world experience. So dude, you're hitting the nail on the head with that.
Yeah. It's insane that we're talking about this. I had to go through this last weekend and listen to a teacher talking to another child, not mine. And the teacher was awesome. Like the teacher, what they were saying to the parent was spot on. And they wasn't being ugly to the parent or anything like that. They were just trying to help the parent. And hopefully the parent takes the advice of it. But it's like, I could have seen my mother back in the day. If a teacher would have said some of that shit to them about me, my mom would have been up in flames. She would have been hot as hell, mad. You don't tell me what to do with my baby at home and all this kind of shit. And luckily this mother was like, okay, I'm having some issues here. Let's do it together. Like I do like some of the new train of thought with parents. I do. And the more people that are open to that stuff, the better. Because we should be looking out for our kids more and not being just stuck. Like beating ass ain't the only solution, you know?
Listen, now my son he don't even respond to it anymore. Actually,
don't.
last time I tried to whoop him, he's like, "See, it don't hurt no more." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right,
dude, I'm
like,
a grown.
all right," and it doesn't work. It don't work with him. Just talking to him, I get down to his level. I just talk to him. It works a lot better.
Dude,
Yes, you find your ways to just like coaching. I mean,
Yeah.
or training anybody. It's just you find a way to reach the child or the athlete or the dog. Right?
Do you remember though? Teachers used to call home all the time. You had the home phone.
Yeah.
And the phone rang and then either like you were home, like, oh, it's your teacher on phone. I'm like, oh fuck, man. Like they only called the house for one reason. Shit, man, I'm in trouble.
It wasn't for saying they're doing a great job.
Yeah,
That's for
dude,
sure.
I was bad. I was very ornery. So plenty of phone calls to the house.
Yeah, you weren't bad.
I wasn't an asshole, but I was ornery. You think I was cute and funny. You know what I mean? And I abused it.
I get it. Trust me, I was the same way. Think it about like this. Y'all know who Phil Jackson was, right? Or Phil Jackson is. I guess he's still alive. Basketball coach for the Bulls and the Lakers and everything like that. Like Phil Jackson is notorious. I can't remember his nickname, but he literally would play mind games with these players to get them where they wanted to be. Like he would treat every player different to get them to be the player that he knew they could be. Like if you have the greatest coach of all time treating adults like that and playing mind games and finding out how to treat individuals that way, it's okay to do it to kids. It's okay to figure out, okay, this guy I've got to make run laps until he fucking gets the point and make muscle memory happen to where he does. That's a good sneeze. To where he gets what I'm trying to get through to him. And then you got other guys like, look, I got to sit you down for 5 minutes and have a discussion with you. And if I do that and don't yell at you and I talk to you in a monotone way, you're going to get it. Like, it's okay to parent and talk to kids differently.
Yeah.
That's how I treat my kids, the kids I coach. The first so I coach, so I had been coaching football for years, and then the head coach position came over for tennis, and I don't look like it, but I am a tennis player,
Oh,
and
shit.
so I took that position, and by week 2, I had one of the head people had to come out and talk to me like, hey Tom, look, we're not getting complaints, but the kids, he was just like, you can't talk to them like they're football players. He's like, you can't mother F them up and down the court. I was like, oh, crazy. And you know what? I saw I was pissing some kids off. I'm like, man, here we go. Like, these kids are teaching me something. I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to get to them. So what I do now in the beginning of the year, when I find my core kids, I say, all right, what do you want to hear from me? Like, I ask them individually because I have individual meetings and stuff. I ask them, I say, all right, look, in the heat of the moment, you're pissed off, you're not playing as well or something, like, something's going on. How would you like, what do you respond best to? Because I'm going to use that on you to motivate you. So you
Yeah.
tell me how you like to be talked to. Some kids are just like, tell me what I'm doing wrong. And some kids is like, yo, just come and tell me I'm fucking suck right now. Like, there's different characters, what they like. So they give me the permission to use what they want against them. I let them give me the permission, and then I use the fuck out of it on them.
Yeah. I like that.
I do too. We had my daughter plays middle school softball, and we had a game Wednesday versus like where I'm from, Bleckley County and Dodge County are rivalries. I grew up and I went to Dodge County High School and that school system. My daughter goes to Bleckley County now. And we played Dodge County on Wednesday. And we went back there to play. And their middle school softball coach, and I don't mind saying this, is a fucking asshole. And I don't know who he is, never met him before a day in my life, nothing. Don't know his name at all. The way he was coaching those girls the other day was the most infuriating thing for a dad because it was nothing like that. One, his mannerisms were the worst. Like if a kid made a mistake and he's over there on the field shaking his head and putting his hand on his face and all that kind of shit, just letting for anybody that coaches youth sports, what you were just saying about like talking to them in a certain way to like pump them up and everything. The opposite side of that is when a kid sees a coach discouraged with them, nothing shuts that kid down or makes them feel worse. It makes them want to stop trying more than that. And when I saw this dude the other day, I don't get mad at sports. Like I don't. And like with my daughter's an athlete, but it's when it clicks with her. Like, so softball, by the time she gets to high school, she's going to be a beast. She's not there yet, but she still like is one of these prancers. Like she doesn't even run right. She prances. She's a fucking princess. But you can see she has all the attributes. She just hasn't decided she wants to be serious yet. And like, I don't push her to do nothing. It's like, when you're ready to do it, we'll do it. Like, and all this kind of stuff. But I wish, and we got good coaches over here, but I wish there was more coaches like what you're talking about to where like, hey, I'm not finna get on to you in front of all these people. I'm going to talk to you one-on-one. Let's fix your mistakes. Let's work on shit instead of discouraging you in front of the whole damn school.
That's a big part because as a football background, you get called out in front of the whole fucking team right then and there. And it's a different breed of kids that play football.
And it's also you win together, you lose together.
Yeah. So
you want to breed your players to hold their teammates accountable.
Yeah.
So then that means when you mess up, then we all get punished.
But when you take that over to some more
individual sport,
it's like it doesn't work well. They don't understand, and that's why I had to learn. Like, okay, yeah, I can't take football tactics over to tennis. So like, I have to like talk to them individually, so I don't embarrass them.
Night and day.
Which now, I get them to the point where like I might just walk by like, and they know like.
Yeah,
what I coach you. That's not it.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, you can't shake your head. You can't discourage. I remember when I was in college football, a little different, a little more business-like. But those coaches, a lot of times, will just, I can remember Kroll just being like, "Get out." I'm like, "Get out." I'm like, I fucking make, what are you not allowed to make mistakes around here?
Yeah.
And then you gotta wait a half an hour to get back in. I'm like, that's not very, that's not how you learn.
You don't get better.
You don't get better by that. And the next person went out. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck. Like, it's discouraging. I'm
Do
like,
more.
Yeah, it's
Do
like,
more.
what the fuck? Run it back. Let me go through it a couple times. Run it back.
Right.
Wait,
What we doing?
everybody's different though. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
people that get it the first time and you never got to teach them again. And then it's like some people it takes 10 times. Like with me with guitar, dude, I've been trying to learn guitar for 2 years and I've given up 15 times. And I've given up 15 times because I now know unless you're sitting here teaching me, I can't do it. Like it's literally,
Yeah.
you have to put my fat ass fingers where they go and teach me what have to. I can't look at YouTube videos. I can't look at chords on a sheet of paper. Like I have to have someone teach me in person. And it's like, okay, none of my friends have to do this. So does that make me less? And that's not the case. Is everybody learns different.
They do. I learned, it took me years to learn that as Lewis said, when I used to do concrete work with him, he was like, "You're very methodical," like, and it's true because I used to have a lot of problems in math because I can remember teachers saying, like, "I'm spending too much time with you," because I have to, like, when I do something, I need to know every reason why. And I'm
Yep.
like, we run a football play. If you just told me to run through a hole, I'm like, all right, I'm running through a hole, but I need to know every scenario of that play versus on everybody on offense and defense. So I have every scenario of every move I can do. If it ever looked like this, it could look.
Yeah.
How can it evolve? I need to know, like,
You suck up all the teachers' energy.
I'd suck up all. Yeah, I'm so methodical. I need to know all the parts and why. Like, why is it like that?
And then
Why
you
is
move
that?
forward.
Is that the best version? And a lot of times because I want to know, is that the best version? Like, have you tested why you're telling me that? Like, are you just telling me that, or is that that's been tested and you're telling me the best thing? Or are you just telling me because that's the way it is?
That's
You know what I mean?
how
What do you why?
That's
Yeah.
how I teach my daughter everything though. Like it's because that's how I am. I have to understand why you're telling me to do something. If
Yeah.
I'm teaching my daughter to hit backside and I'm telling her, hey, you got to step to, if she's a right-handed hitter, I'm telling her, you got to step towards first base. And she's like, why do I have to step towards first base? And why do I have to slow my hands down? And then I get out there and show her. Once I explain to her why she's doing it, she's like, oh, that makes sense. If I just sit there and tell her and she doesn't have the why to it, she's like, this is fucking stupid. Like,
And going to guitars, you get like an engineer of a guitar, and you get a guy that's just like an artist. So some people can
Yeah.
play, but you could not throw them into a solo. They don't have creativity. So I think there's
Yeah.
you find
Oh, yeah.
who's an engineer player who can just, like, yeah, I know if you show me that the chord, yeah, that's progression, whatever, blah 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 blah. And the guys, and then you get another person like, you just start where key and I'll fucking rip this shit right now.
Yeah.
So
I do want to talk to you about
what do you want to talk about?
your favorite show you've ever done, and I texted you about it, the Love Note Suicide Note podcast you did.
oh yeah.
And is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Suicide Note, Love
Yeah.
Note, right, to yourself or something?
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it on Josh's show. And I know, and we don't have to get into the personal stuff.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind.
Obviously there was some things, right, that led you to this place. How did that deep psychedelic experience go? Like, as far as, give me your, and I know you went through it, but I want to hear it from you firsthand. Like, your feelings of, was it pleasant? Was it miserable? Was it painful?
Dude, the best way I know how to put this. I think everybody has to do it one time after me doing it. The reason why is because there's something in you that you don't know that's in you. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I just know now that it shows you that there is shit that you have not dealt with, is the best way I think I know how to put it. For instance, like when I did it, I did not realize why I was always, like, even as a grown ass man to this day, and since then I have been fine with it. I didn't realize why I was always sleeping with my TV on. Like, why I had
That's
to
me.
have, have. So like growing up, I grew up in a household that was very violent. Like when times were it was just violent. Like my mom and dad, it wasn't just one sided, it was both of them. And it would be where there was always noise. So for me growing up, if noise was going on, it was you knew everybody was okay in a very fucked up way. When things were quiet, that's when you had to be scared because the quiet was the uncommon. The quiet was what the fuck is going on here. So for me, I didn't realize, and like anybody I've ever dated or anybody that's ever spent the night at the house or just even Gracie, like they've always been like, why do you sleep with the TV on? And I never knew why I slept with the TV on or whatever. And it was because that noise in the background was me dealing with, oh, if I have chaos in the background, I know everything's okay. Like that was something until I did that psychedelics and I did a macro dose. I didn't know that was the reason why. Like,
do you know how much you took?
it was between, I bought 6 grams of 6 grams of, what is it called? I haven't done them in so long. I can't remember now. I probably won't do them again ever, but, unless I do a micro dose psilocybin mushrooms. So it was between, and I had done like a couple before then just to test them out to see if they were decent. So I did between like 4.5 and 5 grams.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, I was
Rocket
tripping
ship.
my balls.
So, but was it pleasant? Like
oh yeah, it wasn't scary.
no.
Not even kind of
How
scary.
did you find that answer? What did that look like for you when you said you had the aha moment? Like, was it in the moment or when you came sober again, you're like, oh,
No,
that was why.
it's in it. It's in it.
Like, what do you see?
It's not what you see. It's what it's just like a light switch goes off. It's the best way I know how to tell you. It's when you realize it, it's just like somebody taught you a lesson. And it was just like it was something that was there your whole life and somebody just opened the door and showed you. So this is how my experience went. When stuff started kicking in, it was like every door in my house was something that I had to open and unlock in my mind. And it was very weird. I didn't want to go outside or anything like that. I wasn't really scared. There was one room that I was scared of. If you listen to the show, you realize because that's where my shotgun is. And that was because like I battled with suicide and stuff before, like 14 years ago. I think that was just, I was scared to get close to my gun, but it wasn't, I was scared of it. But it also was where once I figured it out, and that was what was crazy. It was like you had levels to this shit. It was where that was the last room I had to go in. I was scared of that room until right at the very end. And it was like, you had to have enough balls to go in there. You had to psych yourself up to go in there. And then when you figure out, why am I scared of this room? I've been in this room 1,000 times. Like, what is it about this room that is different? And when I realized that my shotgun was in there, in the case and everything, not loaded, nothing like that. This was exactly where it was supposed to be, out of reach of kids and all that good shit. And I realized what it wasn't even the gun. It was the fact that I had to face it to be like, I'm not even scared of suicide anymore. Like, I'm scared of the thought of it. Like, I'm scared of what people think that I'm going to do if I lose my shit. Like, I'm not scared of this gun. It's the things that come along with it. And like, it's a lot of shit, dude. It was another thing to where like, I didn't realize, that like probably that I'm a little more protective when it comes to like I don't know. I don't feel like my mom was there enough as a mother. It's kind of weird. Like I think I rely on women too much to replace my mother. Like asking to do shit for me or whatever. It made me realize that I probably put too much on a woman to take the place of my mother, that I should be doing shit. I shouldn't be expecting you to be my mom. I should be expecting you to be my wife or my girlfriend. That was kind of weird. But it's something I'm telling you, like it's so hard to put into words unless you do it. Because once you do it, it makes you realize everything about you that you're holding on to and why you're holding on to it.
Gotcha.
And
How,
it's crazy.
how long was with that fucking
It,
rocket ship of cocktail you took? How long did that last?
it seemed like it lasted 6, 7 hours, but looking back at it, it's probably about three.
That's wild.
3 to 4
You
at the
didn't lay
longest.
down. You were walking around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It was crazy.
when you were on last time, we had talked about microdosing.
Yeah.
You hooked me up with a site
Yeah.
that was legit. I placed an order. It got seized at the border.
Oh,
I got a
shit.
nice little love note from Homeland Security. The company says, hey, they reach out to me and say, hey, we're sorry, we got a new domestic supplier. We're going to get you a replacement. The replacement was not pre-dosed capsules. The replacement was a bag of psilocybin mushrooms
Yeah.
and 14 grams in total. And the first dose I took was 300 milligrams. It was fucking delightful.
Yeah.
It was like I wasn't high, I wasn't
Nope.
anything. It
You're
was
probably
just,
just
I
happy.
felt like the best Jerry
Yep.
that could possibly be. Nothing could stress me out. And I took it like with intention of like, I'm going to try to stress myself. I'm going to try to give myself anxiety. Couldn't do it. The next time I took 500 milligrams, not much different. The next time, which was actually Father's Day this year, I took a gram. And it was such a great day. It was beautiful weather. We're hung at home. The kids were swimming in a pool. Me and my wife were laying on the deck on this big cabana thing we have. And she actually took some for the first time then too. She took 500 milligrams. I took 1,000, took a gram. And for the first time, I started yawning a lot.
Yeah.
And like these hardcore yawns are coming on. And I'm like, okay. And I'm laying on the thing. I'm looking at the trees. And, the color senses are super alert, super
Yeah.
vibrant. And if you've never microdosed or take any kind of psychedelic, like you can see so crisp the pickup movement, right? And I'm watching the trees and the leaves just blowing in the wind. And all of a sudden, the tree I was looking at, this big giant oak tree in my backyard, started going up and down,
Yeah, it
right?
kind of runs a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, like that's pretty cool. And so I started noticing some odd visuals. My wife's like, man, I feel great. This is fantastic. Like she's relaxing, reading, it's just the most beautiful, perfect day, right? We're still in the frame of mind where we're good parents, kids are having a good time. I'm in the pool with the kids, fucking laughing uncontrollably. Like I'm playing with my kids, I'm throwing them up, they're staying on my shoulders, and we do this stuff all the time, right? But I could not stop fucking laughing at
Yep.
them. It was just the funnest, and it wasn't like a marijuana high laugh.
No.
It was I genuinely was having such a great time, and you're
It's
over the
joy.
top in the moment.
It's
You know
not
what I
even
mean?
happy. It's not even happiness. It's joy.
It's pure joy,
You
right?
feel like that's a way of your mind and body, like getting rid of stress,
And
It
and
is.
you're just laughing it out and just
You're just like,
letting go.
this is the best moment. The only thing on my mind is what's going on right
Yeah.
now.
It's
Pam was outside the pool. She's looking at us, laughing. The kids are having a great time. And second part is everything kind of settled down. Kids were doing their own thing. Me and my wife go into the bedroom and had adult activities.
yeah.
It was fucking out of body experience. And literally, I remember going in to the bedroom, and it was like, kind of dark in the room, whatever. The curtains are pulled shut, and I would close my eyes, and it would look like the ripples in a blue pool, right?
Yep.
And then I'll open my eyes. I was starting to see the ceiling fan bounce in, and the crease between the wall and the ceiling was like wavy. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So very mild visuals. But anyway, we're getting down to business. And when I would have my eyes closed, I swear to you, Josh, I was outside of us looking at us. I was like, you were watching your own porn.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I could see me and her when I would have my eyes closed.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like watching a TV. It was like I was right there. It was like I'm like right next to you, like just looking at it. But it was such a fucking cool thing, insanely passionate, in just insanely intensified, right? Everything's great. It just made it even better. So without going into all the crazy details, we get all done, and my wife goes, is this supposed to like make sex like way better? And I was like, I guess, I don't know, but I'm glad you felt it too, because this was fucking a different experience, right? I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
I don't know if
But
I've ever had sex on mushrooms.
do try it.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I don't know. I'm not saying I haven't. I just don't remember right off the top of my head. Usually when I do mine, because I'm very creative, right? I usually do my stuff to where I want to be in a creative atmosphere to where I can work, to where like I I almost want to come up with a new idea to write a song, or I want to come up with a new idea for a show or for something. Uh and it don't always happen like that. It hardly ever happens like that. But that's where my goal is when I start off with. Or I like going to a concert and microdosing. Now I have not done a single bit. See, here's also the thing with mushrooms is once you have the experience that you're looking for, you're not supposed to do like I did the macro dose. You're not supposed to do them again for a while.
Yeah.
Like once you have like the micro doses are great. Don't get me wrong. I love them. But I feel like I've had the experience that I needed to have to where now I don't have anything built up in me to where like I don't feel like you need to not abuse, because you can't really abuse mushrooms. I don't think you can anyway, unless
Oh,
you're
what
just
you mean.
right, like unless you're a crazy person. Like, but you're not going to get the effect that you're supposed to get with them because they're supposed to be therapeutic.
Yeah.
If you do them all the time, it's not going to be therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. If I do them again, I'm going to microdose. I don't want to ever macrodose again. I mean, it's not a bad experience. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Now I do want to still try DMT at some point in time, but that only lasts like 15 minutes. I
Crazy.
don't know if I'll ever do that. I've got a buddy. His name is Riley Anderson. He's got an amazing story with this. He's one of the artists that we work with. He's one of my best friends in the world. He's a heavier set guy. He's a bigger guy. And last year when we were in Nashville, he was on. He decided to stay in. He hit a DMT pin while all of us went out, and we had these stairs that was like in a 3-story house, and he hit the DMT pin. He didn't think it was kicking in or whatever, so he's fixing to go upstairs and just go to bed. Well, when he got to the stairs, he took like 3 steps up the stairs, and then the stairs extended. And when they extended, the message that he got was, if you don't lose weight and get healthier, you're never going to make it to the top.
Oh shit.
But it wasn't in a bad way.
Yeah.
And for him too, it wasn't just so he would get healthier. It was so he would make it to the top of his career, make it to the top of his life for his wife and everything. So DMT is supposed to make you take a hard look at yourself. I also would love to do ayahuasca. I've got a friend named Whitney Miller. If you want to go back and listen to her, she was on the show like last summer, I think. She's a fucking beast. She's in music now, but she's like a world champion MMA fighter, world champion wakeboarder, world champion.
Wow.
She was Miss Texas at one point in time. Like she's a
Yeah.
badass, but she's done like ayahuasca 17 times. She's an animal. And I don't know why you would do it 17 times, but
Working on some shit.
yeah, I guess she's been through some shit, but she's just raves about how good it is for you. It's supposed to do the same thing, but psilocybin and ayahuasca are supposed to be the same thing. And I didn't say this a while ago. This is the other thing about doing a macro dose. It kills your ego. And I don't know how to tell anybody in a different way. You realize you're not shit, but in a good way. And you realize like everything that you are concerned with about yourself, you don't have to be concerned with. Like I've sat for years and bitched about my weight. Like I bitched and bitched and bitched about my weight. And when I did that and I killed my ego, it was like, okay, well, I can start this tomorrow. And I did.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. It's you stop thinking you're more important, or not that you're more important, because I don't ever think I've been better than anybody anyway.
But you
But
think you're different. You're
yeah.
like, well, I'm not that person, so I
Yeah.
can't do this.
Yeah, and whatever it is, it's just like you can do whatever the fuck you think you can, and no one can stand in your way. I'm real bad. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but like where I'm from, nobody does what I do. Nobody for fucking I could fucking reach a hand out 100 miles until you get to Atlanta, Georgia. Nobody does what I do, and that's 2 hours away. And so nobody gets me around here. Nobody gets my songwriter buddies, my musician buddies when they're here. Nobody understands what it's like working in social media. They're just like, oh, you should go get a 9 to 5, like blah, 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 like all this shit, right? And I don't knock none of that stuff. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. But if you're a dreamer and you want more and you want to do something like this, you're considered fucking weird and everything. I held on to that for the longest time, that I wanted to be different. And when I did that macro dose, it made me be like, I already say it all the time, weird and unique have the same definition, damn near it. Like, believe it. Like, believe it, Josh. Like you're okay. Like there are people that want to do what you do. They might not want to be you, but they want to do what you do. You just have the balls to do it. Whether they ever sit here and applaud you, who gives a damn? Whether they ever want to be your buddy or support you, who gives a damn? There's enough people that are. You should be proud of yourself to where, like, don't hold on to the bad shit. Like, an ego can be a very bad thing. And
for sure, man.
That seems to be the common denominator across most drugs, is talking about killing your ego. Even Sturgill Simpson writes that in his songs about killing the ego.
Sturgill's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do it.
Really?
I love Sturgill Simpson. I love everything about that dude. He is the best concert I have ever seen. He is probably my favorite artist, newer artist. But to hear him talk about it, to hear Joe Rogan talk about it, to hear all these people like Joey Diaz, everybody talk about what it did to them to do a macro dose and to figure out the shit that, because everybody knows you're fucked up, right? This is like, you know that there's something wrong with you, even if you're not going to admit it. You know that there's something that, I made a video a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and it was in reference to one person in particular that I wanted to see it, but it ended up kind of blowing up. But it was like, you wasn't there, or I wasn't there. I don't know why you are the way you are. I have no idea why you react to the things the way you do. I have no idea why you are standoffish, why you are stubborn, why you are any reason why the way you are. Now, that being said, you might not know the reason why the way you are, but there's probably some things that you do that you're like, fuck, I wish I didn't do that. I really wish I didn't act that way. And I know that because I'm that way. I wish I was nicer to people. I work in social media and I work in the public eye, and I hate that. I hate that I have to go out and be fake nice sometimes. But I ought to be appreciative of it because it's my job, it's my career. And when you do these hallucinogens, it makes you look at yourself and it makes you be like, this is why I'm stubborn. This is why I'm a cynic. Do you want to fix it? Do you want to come to terms with it? Do you want to be a happier person? And let's put this to rest. It's almost like you got years of therapy in a couple hours, and it makes you say, we're done with this. Like, we're fucking done. You don't want to be an asshole no more? You're not an asshole no more. You can fix it starting right now. It is insane.
Yeah. I've the couple times I've done it, and I haven't, like I said, a gram is the most I've ever done. I feel like that was perfect. I feel like I could have even started with that. But just like most people that don't know, which you don't know, you get a little nervous. You
Oh,
get a
it
little
is.
scared, like I don't know. I mean, and well, I'm not upset at how I did it, but I told my buddy that hasn't done it yet, and he's interested, and I was like, dude, if you just ever can just trust me,
Yeah.
just try a gram first. You know what I mean? Like have a little food in your belly, be super hydrated, and and roll with it, and know this is going to be a really, really nice 3 hours because it
Yeah.
was about 3 hours for that too.
Yeah.
Like you said, it felt like eight. It felt like a
Yeah.
day. You know what I mean?
And for you or anybody that's scared of doing a macro dose, and like, trust me, I probably did it the wrong way, but I was in a bad place and I was looking for a quick fix, and it was not. I would not recommend this to anyone. Okay. I'm just a fucking extremist. And at the time, life was just spiraling down, and I was like, what the fuck's the worst that could happen? Like, I'm already losing my shit. Let's just go with it. Like, I had the balls to do it because how bad things were going for me at the time. I would definitely recommend somebody being there with you that's not doing it if you're going to do a macro dose, being in a place that you feel like home and feel comfortable, place where you don't have bad memories, place where you feel loved at. And you're gonna deal with shit, but it's gonna be when you get done with it, everyone in your life is gonna be appreciative that you did it.
Mhm.
There's a reason why, like that documentary that's on Netflix, I tell everybody to go watch, How to Change Your
Yeah.
Mind, and everything that's out about this stuff. There's a reason why people that have CTE and brain damage are doing it. There's a reason why veterans are getting pushed towards psychedelics with ketamine and everything else now. Like, not to get too weird on people, but THC and all that kind of stuff that's grown from the earth is come to be great for the body. I think mushrooms were put here to be great for the mind.
Same.
Uh,
Yep.
like
100%.
and it just makes so much sense. If you would have been around me a couple months ago, and it ain't what fixed me by any means. I think me getting healthier, me getting closer with my faith, and me just working on my mental health and everything is what got me to where I am trying to be now and the person I'm trying to be. But I think that it gave me the jump start that I needed and made me comfortable to where it's like, hey, I know what I need to do, and I don't care what anybody says about it. Like, if somebody wants to sit there and says or say, "Oh, Josh traded one addiction for another,"
Mm.
like, it's where I don't give a damn. I'm healthier. My relationships are better. I feel better. I'm about to be at my high school weight, and I'm
Dude, you
37.
you look incredible. Your
I
transformation over the past, I don't know, what's it been, 4 or 5 months, probably?
it's not even that long. I was
Not even.
260 in April, but I didn't even start working out or walking until June.
Okay.
Like, and eating right until like the mid part of June. And
Nice.
yeah, and it's just like, but that's what it does though. Like, it makes it to where, and like I said, I'm not crediting just the psychedelics for this, but it gave me to where, like I said, my ego was done. I knew that there had to be something better. And I wasn't scared to pursue something better. And I wasn't like, if somebody wanted to talk shit or whatever, it was like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care. If you want to say something,
Yeah.
say something. I know that I'm going to feel better.
So you've got like, some great things going on physically, mentally, obviously. What's down the pipeline for you, the show, your Nashville stuff? What's coming up exciting
Uh,
in your world?
uh, Dude, I don't know. When I first started this show, uh, when I came off of radio, I had like one idea in my head, and it was morals over money. And for the longest time, and when we first started, before I signed with a management company for like the first year, that's all it was. Like, the guests that I had on, the people that I had part of the show were things that I wanted to talk about, things that like I wanted to go down those rabbit holes and everything. And at some point in time, when more money got introduced to it, I started just looking for, and I've said I haven't done this, but I did in a lot of cases. I would look and be like, oh, this person's got 1 million followers. Let me send them an invitation and be like, these are my numbers on the show, top 1% show in the world. We've got all these credentials and everything. Come to the show. And it's not that I wouldn't like them, but it was like, I don't want to put that message out into the world. Like, kind of what I want to do moving forward is I'm still going to be me, but it's like, I think I'm going to be pickier about what comes off of this show. And now sometimes that's probably going to mean shitty months with ratings, but I'll put it like this. Over the summer, when I kind of took a little bit of hiatus, I still had to put out episodes. And dude, I put out the absolute bare minimum. I don't think I put out 20 episodes all summer. And I thought for a little bit there, those gonna be like, I'm finna get dropped. I'm finna lose every sponsor, whatever. I didn't look at my numbers for the longest time because I was scared to look at them. And going into August, I was like, I gotta look at this shit. I gotta pay attention to see how bad off I am, because management didn't bitch really. They told me I need to put out more episodes, but they never said get your numbers up. Dude, I looked at my numbers and our numbers never changed. Like, I can't tell you how. I literally, I cannot tell you how we didn't have a rapid decline, but more people were coming and listening to past episodes and listening to the few I was putting out. And I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I can do what I want to do. So I think moving forward, it's still going to be a lot of the country music artists, people like you guys that are just good fucking dudes. I had Chad Prather on the other day. It's a good buddy of mine that's kind of going down the same road I am right now, who's a big star out in Texas. Like, I just want to, if my name's going to be associated with it, I want it to be. I've always told artists that I work with, I'm more about legacy than popularity. And I want it to be where, what's my legacy? Like, do I care about making a few, do I care about making a few dollars, or do I care about helping somebody's mental health? Do I care about like being an extension of God and being a blessing to somebody? Or do I care about, having a big fat ass house? Because I had some, and I'm not knocking any of you OnlyFans girls, because I love a bunch of you, and both of you are very good people. But I don't have to just have you on the show anymore because you got 2 million followers and you got an OnlyFans. If you don't have,
does that mean you're not going to have the OnlyFans girl of the month anymore?
No. Yeah, I'm not. That's just not going to be for me anymore. I want, and another reason being is I think that deterred certain people from doing the show.
Yeah.
And it's not that I wouldn't take and have another OnlyFans girl on the show if she has a great story. If she has something that will help somebody, if she's battled mental health, battled abuse, battled something, and now the reason why she's doing what she's doing is not just to get rich, but to empower or whatever. Just a good story. I don't want you just on this show anymore because you got a fat ass and big tits. I don't care no more.
It sounds like you're on a path to cultivating a better product because it's going to come from the heart.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to a quality of a success, not a quantity, but like a quality, which will allow you to do more because it'll feed itself because it'll be natural.
Well, and
you're more satisfied with it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, one thing I realized in these past couple months, dude, is everybody ought to have their own version of success, their own idea of success. And I know what mine is now. I shouldn't look at Theo Von or Joe Rogan or anybody else and be like, that's success. Now, are they successful? Absolutely. Are they my favorites? Absolutely. I love Joe Rogan. He's done more for my career just listening to him when I was in radio and listening to what he does than anybody. He's a huge inspiration to me. But it's like, I'm not Joe Rogan, I'm Josh Terry. There's already a Joe Rogan. if I'm going to be successful in this, I have to be me and I have to be true to me. And it's either you're going to fail being yourself or you're going to succeed being yourself.
Ooh,
That's what I like.
that's a good one.
You gotta step out the way and let it happen and write Josh Terry's story.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, who wants to fucking make it being somebody else anyway? You know how exhausting that would be to wake up every other day trying to be somebody else?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier just to be yourself.
Yeah, man. What's that saying? Like, be yourself, everyone else is taken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who the fuck
like
wants
that.
to be other people? People suck, and they do shit based upon what other people are doing. So why would you even take any advice from it anyway? If you got a little something, that's because you're unique. I hope to God, I love anytime everybody called me weird. And I always say, well, thank God I ain't normal because you're all fucking weird to me. So
Well,
what happens when the weird guy thinks you're weird? How weird are you?
Yeah.
Well, it's
You know what I mean?
Well, it's just like social media, dude. The people that have staying power that will always be popular on social media, like my buddy Ginger Billy, Adam.
Oh, dude, he's freaking awesome.
He's being him.
Yeah.
That dude ain't never got to do nothing but wake up every day and be him. Justin Danger is the same way. He's got to wake up every day and be him. They ain't got to be nobody else. And it's like, I tell artists this all the time. I think everybody, including you two, everybody who's never wrote a song, everybody, I think every individual has the ability to write an all-time great song, regardless if it's country or whatever. Because
I remember you saying that the first time we were on your show.
Because you're the only person that can tell your story, whether it's a song or it's a book or whatever. You're the only person that can tell your story. And if that's the case, why not just be you? On social media, how you actually feel every day in life. If you're just you, you can't lose. I mean, there's no way. Like, at least you're going to go to bed every night happy. At least you're going to sit here and say, I gave it my best effort and I'm happy. You can't fail. Every time I've ever failed is I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, probably, but I was probably trying to act like somebody I'm not. I've never failed being Josh Terry.
Or like Tom always talks about fighting the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're getting pushed some way or you gravitate towards certain things, stop fighting against it because you think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like the universe is not going to steer you wrong.
Just lean into it.
Just lean into it, go with it. It's never not worked out.
Look for the signs.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to work the universe, and you just say, all right, I kind of see what's happening. Let me just lean into it.
Yeah, and once you go through a couple experiences like that, you tend to welcome it a little bit easier and a little bit easier. So, I love the space you're in right now. I have been watching you over the past few months, and I could see it, and I could, even the short amount of time that we've engaged with each other, I could see the difference in, well, say content, right? But it's just really you. You know what I mean? So, I really love hearing about that, dude.
Well, I appreciate it, dude.
I'm just really pissed off that you had fucking Do Not Disturb on all goddamn summer and we couldn't come down to Nashville.
We were really trying to play. We had the wives on board and everything.
You know how bad my wife wanted to come to Nashville and do country star shit? Damn it, man.
We'll still make it happen. We'll make it happen. I feel bad about that. I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. Like I said, dude, I have ignored the shit out of everybody. And I feel bad that I have, because it's a lot of people. I'm not the best communicator anyway, but like I really have ignored people and I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But I kind of just want to say this to everybody. You eventually have to really take time for yourself. It is okay to take time for yourself. Don't let anybody make you feel bad if you do. I probably could have done it in a lot better way to where I didn't alienate people. But with me, I just had to shut down and I had to just, dude, you got to get your shit together.
That was for the good, because if you were talking about the universe,
yeah,
you put your phone on Don't Disturb for a reason, so that we didn't see a different Josh Terry. Now we get the better Josh Terry. So now all that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no wrong way. You shouldn't be apologetic about it because it's what was best for you. So sometimes it's best to be selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
As you learn in first responder class, you got to take care of you first so you can help other people. That's rule number one.
Absolutely, dude.
That's it. You can't help nobody if you can't help yourself.
Yep.
Dude, you ain't
Or
lying.
keep yourself alive to save it.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Well, boys, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let y'all get out of here. That seems like that ends on a good note. But tell
Hell
everybody
yeah.
where they can find your podcast. And we'll definitely have to do this. We got to make this like a monthly thing. I like having
So,
y'all on too much.
Dude,
I'm good with that.
I agree. And we're going to make an in-person one happen too.
Absolutely.
So, we are at the Dude Dads or the Dude Dads podcast on everything. I will put this out there to you and your listeners and our listeners. So we're going to put the show out too. We are like 3,000 downloads away from being picked up by a podcast networking management company.
Heck yeah.
So we need you guys. We need our fans. We need the Josh Terry fans, because obviously we vibe with y'all, to go check out our show. It's on every major podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, the whole 9 yards. Go find it. We got a lot of great shows. We did a show with Josh a while ago. Like I said, that's on his, not ours. But anyway, listen to something, get us there so we can get picked up, do better things, do bigger things, because we want to keep snowballing this thing. We have a lot of fun. On the flip side of that, make sure you all go out and follow Josh Terry. Incredible podcast, lots of cool guests all the time. Has a really funny, engaging, especially great dynamic between you and your daughter on all his socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. So make sure you go show him some love.
Well, that's cool of you guys. And yeah, let's get them. Let's get y'all 3,000 more downloads quick, dude. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
They'll change the game for you real quick, getting picked up by those companies.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Well, look, man, go have a great day, great week, and we'll stay in touch, all right?
Yes, sir. Well, thank each and every one of y'all for listening to the Josh Terry podcast and the Dude Dads, and we will catch y'all next time.
See you.